Yeah, no worries, man.
So where are you calling from? Oh, sorry, where am I? Are you in the States? I think you guys are Australians, right?
No, we're Americans. I'm in Arkansas.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought for some reason you were from Australia, but Arkansas is good.
No, we've played in Australia a handful of times. I can speak in an Australian accent if you want me to, mate.
Oh no, no, it doesn't matter. I don't know why I thought about Australia. Who knows? Who knows?
That's all right.
Anyway, so I'm sure you heard of us and our publication. We already had
Hmm.
you in one of our issue.
Oh, great. That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. So it's nice to. I mean, the first interview was done by email, so it's nice
Mhm.
to this time to have a chat.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Happy to chat.
I'm just gonna pull out the questions. One second, please.
Okay.
I'm usually more organized. I promise.
That's all right. It's all right. I'm not always that organized myself.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I think I'm ready. Uh, um,
Okay.
right. So I would like to start with your name, with the band name. Um, I mean, I know what it is, but
Right.
what is it for you? And you already been around for a number of years. Does it still reflect the nature of the band and what it means for the band? The band name, actually, the actual band name.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it's like it's our identity and kind of, we typically examine the sort of darker side of human experience, I suppose. So, we're probably not going to be putting out any, you know, dance music or anything anytime soon under the Paul Bearer name. So yeah, it still reflects what we do. Sure.
You have to excuse my ignorance on this. From what I remember, a pallbearer is the person that carries the coffin in a funeral.
Right. Yes,
Is that
it is.
correct?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. So this, I guess, ties up with the genre that you play, doom metal.
Yeah, and whenever we were forming, uh, whenever we started the band, our bass player Joe, his mother was dying of cancer.
Oh, that's
So I
bad.
think that's part of where I think I think it's part of where he came up with the name. So I think that might have been inspired in part by that, what he was going through at the time.
Okay, and so back when you started, how did you end up playing doom metal rather than other genres of metal or even other music? What attracted you to this particular subgenre?
Well, where we live here in Arkansas, the the metal scene here is like, especially at the time, was very. We had some really amazing like doom and sludge bands here, and that's kind of what the Arkansas scene is focused around in a lot of ways. And so our local scene had some really inspiring doom bands that we grew up watching, as teenagers and beyond. And I've always liked doom metal even before I discovered that there was a local doom scene. And it's kind of like slow and enjoy slow and dark sounding music, whether it's doom or other stuff too. Um, the band that Joe and I were in before Paul Bearer was like this sort of dark, like sort of chaotic, like drone band. So if anything, like going from that to Paul Bearer was basically, Paul Bearer might as well have been a thrash band in terms of tempo. So we were going from extremely, extremely slow to slightly less slow when we started Pallbearer, but still very slow. That just seemed kind of natural to us. Like a lot of the bands that we enjoy watching live and that were local were doom bands, and it just kind of speaks to our general musical perspective.
And one thing I've noticed, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, and your album artwork, they have a very unusual kind of surreal paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Could you describe me like why that is? I mean, is it just my impression, or is it a conscious thing to do to go for the unusual? Even within the doom scene, they're still very unusual. Do you have some?
Yeah.
Do you have how would you say, like a vision for how the cover should be on each album?
Yes, absolutely. We have artwork is very important to us in the presentation of our music. We we're yeah we have a very big hand in that, and we've worked with the artists that we've collaborated with in the past very closely. So the guy that has done Forgotten Days and our previous album Heartless, as well as the Fear and Fury EP, and is the brother of our drummer Mark. So
Okay.
the artist name's Michael Lyerly. He's Mark's brother, and I just think he's a really fantastic artist. He kind of captures this. It's very like emotional and visceral, but as you said, it's very surreal, and I think that's kind of the vibe that we're trying to go for in our music too, like kind of psychedelic but intensely emotional, and with a huge amount of like just visceral impact. So I've just out of pure luck, our drummer's brother happens to be a unique painter who can capture this vibe in a really effective way, I think. And we also from the beginning have not wanted to take too much like direct influence from other bands in the scene. We're not like trying to sound like other bands, and so we also kind of want to have our own visual identity as well. And by not really adhering to the typical kind of doom metal like visual tropes, we're trying to kind of like have our own look, our own presentation, not influenced by the scene or whatever.
The Forgotten Days album artwork is very striking. Both the colors and the figures. Plus, there is no band logo, which I like. I personally like that when the logo is not, because it's sometimes sometimes it feels like the logo or the album title is intrusive. So I love when bands are brave to show the album artwork without their logo. And Forgotten Days is like that. Can you tell me a little bit about the story on this particular artwork? If there is one.
A lot of the. Oh, sorry. Continue.
No, I mean, sorry. I was asking if the artwork has any story.
Yeah, it's related thematically, at least. A lot of the lyrical content of this album is about kind of family, and our all of Joe's songs are in some way related to his reflection on the effect that as I mentioned, his mother's death when we started the band. A lot of his lyrical content is his like reflection on how that affected him and his growth as a person, because he was in his early 20s, and then we've spent the the time since then, basically just on the road the whole time for a lot of it, and he never really, uh, he never really was able to deal with it in a healthy way, and so a lot of his lyrics on this album are kind of examining that, and aside from that, like the songs that I wrote, like are kind of concerned with various people within my family as well, and kind of like concerned with time. Or aside from that, like sort of examining like the changes that come in perspective with the passage of time. So the artwork obviously has the family on the front, but it's got the mother holding or the child with a very uncertain kind of look on her face. So it's yeah, I think it just kind of captures this like feeling of uncertainty and trepidation about the future and the past. It's like the time as time passes, as time progresses, it does typically, it eats everything, it destroys everything, everything becomes extinct, and there's no, it's the constant march of entropy. So the idea of life itself is very uncertain, and the past is gone, but it still affects you. So you have the multi generations there on the front, and kind of represents like how time marches on, but no one really knows what it's going to bring.
And if you have to name influences, what influence you and your music? Not necessarily other metal bands, but like you just talked about family and time, the passage of time. So that's obviously a very big influence. And I must say, but if I have to compare the interview with other bands, I wish every band that I talk to are this deep.
Well, we take our stuff very, we try to treat it like art or whatever. This is our. We spend so much time on this stuff, man. We feel like we want to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, of course, and I don't mean like to be rude to other bands. I'm sure everyone has their own things that they like and then they want to do, and absolutely. And I'm not judging, absolutely not. But
Sure.
I think what you just described with the artwork, I think is very deep, and I relate to some of it. So that's why for me it has touched a note. I must say.
Good.
So what inspires you, aside what you just described?
We all have like really broad taste in music. I think we listen to a lot of stuff that's way outside of metal, and I think music as a whole is just interesting. I don't really say that I like any one particular genre over others. I think there's stuff that can be learned as a songwriter from all kinds of music, and we sort of tend to enjoy the more kind of abstract and experimental end of things. But even like pop music has lessons to be learned from a songwriting perspective, even if it's kind of a shitty song or whatever. So I think at this point it's really hard to draw a direct line of what our influences are when we go to compose a Pallbearer song, because we speak that musical language so naturally now, having played together for so long and having been writing music for so long in this style. Like we kind of just are exploring the boundaries of what we can do as pallbearer, but like we don't typically. I don't, for at least from my perspective, I don't know about Joe or Devin, but like I don't just hear a song and go, well, I want to try something like that. It's more just like whenever I write a song, it's a synergy of just all the different music that's like bubbling around inside. So I can't. It's really hard to say what a direct influence, but like we like everything from fucking death metal to just ambient music or prog or krautrock and stuff like that, or just rock music, jazz. I know, like Devin, the other guitarist in Pallbearer, has been really studying up on like jazz the last few years, so that kind of shows up in his guitar playing. I think on a lot of his leads and maybe some of his like chord voicings, which will probably be a little more evident in the future with some future material. But we just try to keep it interesting for ourselves. I think that there's oftentimes bands that try to adhere very strongly to like whatever genre that they're a part of end up just kind of musically saying the same things that many bands have said before. And so we try to do things that are, they don't have to, every song doesn't have to be completely revolutionary, but we do try to we try to have our own voice and kind of try to break new ground and just explore sounds that we haven't heard elsewhere. So, we just, basically we get bored really easily and want to keep shit interesting for ourselves.
Okay. And, like for a long time, I thought that your state was pronounced.
Oh, sorry, you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hey.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello?
I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello?
Oh.
Hello, Brent? Hello? Brett? Can you hear me?
Hello?
The wireless customer you are calling is not available. Please try again later.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Oh. Yes.
Okay,
Sweet.
cool.
Hey, I'm sorry. I guess it dropped the call.
Oh, no problem. It happens. I got a couple of more questions, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to ask, with doom metal or any related subgenre of doom specifically, often called sludge or stoner. So obviously, because of the name stoner, a lot of the band, smoke stuff. Is it something that also inspires you? I don't know if you do or not, but I'm just asking in general. If you don't, then you don't.
Oh yeah, I mean, yes, we all smoke for sure. I don't really do it that much anymore, just because like I used to smoke like all day, every day for years and years and years, and I finally realized that just through a series of like circumstances, I kind of went through a period where I ended up smoking less, and I realized that like a lot of my high anxiety, like the anxiety that I had was just because I was high as fuck all the time. I don't know, it affects different people in different ways. I smoke way less now. Not even every day. It's more just occasional. I still like to do it, but yeah, I kind of, I feel like I'm a little more clear-headed and productive now. But definitely, that does not apply for certain other people in the band. So I know, there's still plenty of smoking going on. But yeah, it's. I mean, in general, like kind of psychedelic mindset or whatever, aside from just smoking, but like psychedelic drugs and stuff has definitely had a big impact on kind of how I approach writing music and listening to music and just kind of life itself, how I look at the world.
How did it impact you?
I think it broadened my mind quite a bit. My ability to look at things objectively, or it helps open my mind quite a bit. And I think it, particularly psychedelics help you see yourself in perspective. I think it helps kind of mitigate the ego, kind of lets you see your place in the world more clearly and helps you see that you're just, part of a much greater organism rather than think that you're all, so important. You are important to yourself and to your friends and family and stuff, but so many people get caught up thinking that what they want is absolutely the most important thing and their opinions are so fucking important, but people need to kind of sometimes realize that they're just a very, very small part of a much, much bigger thing. And, it kind of helps you be more chill about stuff, I guess. Like,
Okay.
Try to do your part and, what's up?
No, that's good because I had a similar experience.
Yeah,
so
good.
There must be some truth in it because, from different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And one last question. What are your thoughts on free speech as a working artist, not related to politics, as an artist?
On free speech?
Yes.
I think free speech is very important, but I think people should be, and they can clearly say whatever they want. I think places where, like China and stuff, where you're just certainly not allowed, or parts of the Middle East, you just straight up can't say certain things. I think that's pretty negative. But at the same time, I think that people who expect to be able to say hateful things and expect just no one to respond to that, I think that's a bit stupid. Because it's like, well, if you're going to be, especially in today's day and age, with what's going on in the world, particularly here, I mean, in the U.S. but elsewhere as well, particularly these white supremacist bands, or you go out and try to spread that dogma or that perspective out in the world and expect that everyone's just going to accept it. I think that's a bit naive on their part, because while I think it's important for people to be able to say whatever they want, they should also expect that other people will respond to that. So, if you go out and say some dumb shit, but people
metal
respond, then what do you expect?
But metal is full of hateful things, especially towards Christians.
Yeah. Yes. It's not, I think I understand. I was raised in a pretty conservative Christian environment, and I have a lot of disdain for religion, but I don't think that directing hate outwards at people is any way to accomplish a more harmonious world. I think that I would much rather spend time talking to someone on a respectful basis than I would directing an adolescent level of hatred towards people, because that doesn't accomplish anything. It doesn't get anything done except create more hatred. And I understand that that's a big part of metal and stuff, but in general, I think as I've gotten older, like that has become more and more like distasteful to me because I don't think it really is an effective way of getting anything positive done. So, I mean, I don't like Christianity. I don't like restrictive modes of thought. I don't like, I don't think that in general, religion, those types of religion play a very positive role in the world. But at the same time, I'd be willing to talk to any Christian and I'd respectfully do it because what they believe and the terms that they've come to are not mine to judge. And if I'm an asshole to them, they're certainly not going to listen to me. So I think in order to understand one another, we have to treat each other with respect.
Oh, absolutely, completely agree. Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex.
I really enjoyed this conversation. And
yes, I did too.
And all the best with the new album. And who knows, maybe because I know you guys came to London. I think it was a couple of years ago, and I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? Maybe things will go back to some kind of normality, so bands can start touring again.
Man, who knows when that'll be? I love London. London's like one of our best places to play for sure. The audience is always really fucking killer there. So, I hope we can make it back there soon. Whenever this madness clears up, whenever that is.
Yeah,
it'll be a vaccine soon.
Take care, man. You take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, folks. Thanks for watching this podcast. If you enjoyed this interview, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friend, your family, and your cat. And stay awesome. Don't forget to check out our store at www.headingmusicartwork.com. Ciao for now.
Preview.